Hello everyone, I'm Rylee with the Weatherford Daily News, and today I'm sitting here with a very important member of the community, Rick Spain, and he has a construction company that he's going to be retiring from, and so we just like to talk a little about that. So how did you get started, with Spain Construction? How did that come about?
Construction was in the family for its fourth generation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I was growing up, I really didn't think I wanted to do construction. I got in the oil field early when I was 18 years old and did that for 6 years. And, I thought, well, this is going to be my career.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just move up and one of these days maybe own an oil company,
Mm-hmm.
But the plans changed. I was working on a drilling rig and had my boss come up and tell me that he was going to give my job to the guy that was under me.
Mm.
And you run into that. It's politics and
Yeah.
everything, and so I thought, no, I don't want to do that. And so I talked to the Lord about everything and I prayed about it. And so I went and sacked my clothes up and went to the house, and
Mm-hmm.
I go to the house and I'm contemplating what is my next step. I am a man of prayer and I was praying back then and I'm thinking, I need to do something.
Mm-hmm.
I was 25 years old back in 1985. But the Lord just impressed on me to start doing this construction. The irony is, yes, it's a family business, but the other part of it is I had little to no experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and no money.
Yeah.
I had, I've told this story a lot, but I started with a paintbrush and a half of a 16-foot extension ladder. So, it's got two parts extension that it's
Yeah.
got two 8-foot parts. And so I didn't even have the other part. I just had one part. And, but just a determination and the Lord told me, and I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And, I just jumped into it and started learning and found out I had a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that was why it's been a family business, because we, God gives us natural abilities. And so I just built, learned, just continue to reinvest. You said that I am closing up the business. It's closed.
Okay.
Completely.
All right.
Yeah, so the business was incorporated, and the common thought is, well, I'm going to close this business, tell everybody, and sell all my stuff, and try to get somebody else to do what we did,
Mm-hmm.
so we can recommend. It wasn't that easy.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking months, and I still have a few little loose ends, but the company's dissolved now.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, with the end of that, you're starting something else. You're going
Exactly.
to be the executive director of Infinite
Ministries.
Grace Ministries. Yes.
A lot of people would connect that to Dixie Yoder, and if you're familiar with the newspaper, Dixie has a column in there, and such a special person. Well, it was about 10 months ago the Lord began to lead me on another path, and He spoke to me. First of all, He said, I want you to eliminate your employees. In that first step, I'm thinking, okay, eliminate employees. So I began that immediately. And in the construction business in today's world, you don't even need employees anymore. Most of your construction companies operate on what they call a subcontract basis.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just start paying my present employees on subcontract labor,
Mm-hmm.
and just keep going. And then the Lord spoke to me again. And this was step 2. He said, I want you to close up the business. Before the Lord spoke to me about closing up the company, I had 2 offers on somebody to buy my building, which is just a couple of blocks to the southwest. and it's a nice building, two nice offices. It really, Lord bless me with that. And I'm thinking, no, I don't want to sell my building.
Yeah.
But this was just out of the blue.
Yeah.
When the Lord spoke to me about that, I went and talked to the first individual about it, and I met with him. It's Brandon Culver with Culver Electric. They bought our property.
Okay.
And so he's in Elk City. So I had an appointment with him, went and talked to him, and I said, this is what's happening, Brandon. And this is what I'm thinking that I want for the building. And he said, well, that's exactly what I was thinking. Then step 3 involves Infinite Grace. I have been a part of Infinite Grace Ministries for over 10 years, but I was on the board of this ministry, and the ministry was doing really, really well. We had a building on Main Street, money in the bank, and things were happening. With the nonprofit, it's totally different, and so you rely not only the work that you do, but for people to support you. That's tough. 5 years ago, Dixie had a stroke.
Oh, okay.
And she is, just the backbone of the ministry. And if things couldn't get worse, she had another stroke. So she had 2 strokes back to back. Now she's the type of person that does not give up. Push, 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 push. But in the meantime, you can imagine your leader and this happening. So I'm part of the board. So in a nonprofit, you have a board. In the board, what the board does is it takes care of the finances, makes decisions, that kind of stuff. It ensures the stability of the ministry.
Yeah.
That's what we were doing. I was vice chairman of this ministry, and chairman was Lauren Dick. And so we're going along. Well, as the years go by, we're talking 5 years ago. We're starting to lose money, and starting to not be sustainable. Now we had a lot of money saved up, and we had the building, which is a really nice building on Main Street. So we're looking at it, and we end up selling the building just to give us a little bit more time. And probably about 2 years ago, my mindset began to change with Infinite Grace, and I began to think, how can we close this ministry up? We're losing money every month. And, and it was almost like, gosh, I don't really want to go to this next board meeting.
Yeah.
Because it's just depressing.
Yeah.
And so this is my mindset. So about a week before our board meeting, 4 or 5 months ago, Lauren, the chairman of the board, calls me up, and he says, Rick, I've been praying, I've been a part of this board. I've been on the board for over 10 years, and I feel like it's time for me to step down. When he steps down, you know what happens? I step up. I got this with the phone call a week before a board meeting. I wasn't upset. I wasn't intimidated. I'm thinking, okay, well, my mindset's still the same. How can we manage this ministry and, keep the peace, and without disgrace, you know? So the day of the board meeting, I had an unexpected family event occur. Had to leave town, Oklahoma City. I'm having to go up there, and there's just a mess. I'm thinking I'm going to be back in time for the board meeting. But, then I realized I'm at least going to be late. And so I called my wife and said, call the secretary up and tell her that, I have no agenda. The chairman's supposed to set the agenda for that meeting. Going to do, how's the finance, all this kind of stuff, business stuff. And so she calls the secretary, and then they reschedule it for the next week. Get through that, I get to Saturday morning, and I'm thinking I'm going to sit down and write an agenda. I'm going to be prepared this time. You're not going to catch me with, can I say, with my pants down? Yeah. So anyway, I sat down and I'm talking to the Lord about it, and wow, something happened.
Yeah.
Something happened, and the way that I can describe it, you as you go along in life, a lot of life is just straight ahead. I've got to do this, got to do that. You got your list of things. Oh, and a lot of life is like that, where you just see straight ahead, and this is what we have to do. Sometimes in life we have aha moments, and this was an aha moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
And my vision went from straight ahead to almost at 360 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I realized that the Lord was calling me into this ministry. Now, remember, He told me eliminate employees, close up the business.
Mm-hmm.
Step 3, take over the ministry at Infinite Grace. And so step 4 was going through the steps that you have to take in order to do this. Talk to Dixie, talk to the board, get all this stuff. And so we've done that, and officially a couple of months ago I became the executive director of Infinite Grace Ministries. So in this transition, we've lost some board members. We lost our chairman, and so we had another lady show up just right before this is all happening.
Mm-hmm.
And she is just dynamic, really, really good. She'd run her own nonprofit ministry,
Mm-hmm.
and just had closed that up, and she was looking for something else to get connected with, and Kathy Beckman has become the chairman of the board. Margaret Schrock, David Oster, and Cassidy Lasky. And she's a young lady about you guys' age, and she is just wow. She doesn't have much to say, but I just see the potential in her,
Mm-hmm.
And just such a blessing. Can I say that? I mean, just
Mm-hmm.
really a blessing. So I've got the board, and I mean, Dixie approved of everything, and so Dixie's still a part of the ministry, but at a limited basis, just because of her physical inabilities. So it's really going well. I do want to say something about Infinite Grace, because in the last 5 years, it's lost the public identity. Because Dixie hasn't been involved like she was, and our advertising, word of mouth, that kind of stuff, it's dwindled, and so we are reigniting Infinite Grace Ministry. So, what is Infinite Grace Ministries? It is a biblical based curriculum that is designed to help everyday people in their life.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, so it's a counseling ministry at the present, and that's still, it will remain. What I want to do is I want to create more of a media base where people can see us, because in the world we're in today, where do you get your information?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't even get it from TV anymore. That's my generation.
Yeah.
I want to connect into this, but what we're here for is to help people.
Yeah.
And that's what the ministry's about. Everyone has problems, and sometimes problems become overwhelming. And so this is what this ministry is designed for, is to help people. There's 3 things that I want to accomplish as the executive director. I want people to know who God is, because there's such a misconception, because they see the trouble in the world. Why didn't God do anything? And I want to explain that. I want people to know who God is. And the next thing is I want people to know who they are. Because so much of the time we get so lost in life that we lose our identity.
Yeah.
You see that a lot in marriages and you know, and this and that. You know, you just lose who you are. And so I want to reestablish that, because I'm going to tell you something, that if you have a problem, the Bible's got an answer. God's Word has an answer for every problem. And so I want people to know who they are. And the third thing I want is to show people why you're here. Why are you here? It's not here just to sit at the desk and do this. Yeah, it's part of it. But if you are not in what you're doing, then you haven't discovered your reason for being here. And so that's what I want to do.
Yeah, I think that you're going to do some really good work.
I do too.
In the world.
And I don't think it's me. I think it's a lot of people. Through all of this, it's been a challenge. You know, closing up a business, 40 years, that's life.
Yeah.
40 years of life. And so it's there's a little bit of a grieving process, and then there's a little bit of a re-identification. It's kind of like saying, putting the cow in front of a new gate. You know, and that's kind of, really, that's the way I feel.
Yeah.
I do feel unqualified, but I know He qualifies.
Yeah. This all sounds very exciting. Going to be some fun things coming up. So thank you for speaking with us, and thank you all for watching.